Hello, my name is Billy Petty, and welcome to a new show called Cover 2. This show focuses mainly on the NFL, and it will recap every game of this past week. So, week 3 happened last week in the NFL, and starting out with the Thursday Night Football game, it was the Chiefs against the Eagles, and Andy Reid made his return to Philadelphia, and to not the demise of the Eagles fans, as they really enjoyed his company and what they brought him throughout the years, even though it was not a Super Bowl ring or a trophy. But anyhow, Eagles fans appreciated him. They gave him a warm welcome. They really showed their appreciation for Andy Reid of what he did over the years. However, the game did not go the Eagles fans' way, as it has not for a long time. As we know, the Eagles have never won a Super Bowl. The Chiefs rolled over the Eagles 26-16 in this one. It was never really a game. The Chiefs jumped out in the first quarter, got a 10-6 lead, and from there they just rolled on. Eagles really struggled, holding on to the ball. Chiefs had a lot of turnovers in this game. Alex Smith continues to be a game manager, if you could say that. Continues to manage the game well as make plays and not turn the football over. And that lets that Chiefs Kansas City defense really get at it, let them make turnovers, and then it lets playmakers like Jamal Charles and Dwayne Bowe, even though he didn't have a big game, only a couple catches, but it lets them really take over if they're not turning the football over. And that's exactly what the Chiefs did not do, and it's exactly what the Eagles did do, was turn the football over, and that was the main difference in this game. Heading on into Sunday, we had a lot of great 1 o'clock games. We had some blowouts. We had some great finishes. One game was the Packers at the Bengals. The Bengals jumped out to an early 14-0 lead in this game. Only to see that go, the Packers jumped out to a big lead. In the fourth quarter, the Bengals came all the way back, scoring 13 unanswered points to win this one 34-30. There was a big fumble late in the game. Strip sack, Aaron Rodgers, they took it all the way down. They scored, and Packers got another shot back. You're thinking maybe, Aaron Rodgers can do it again and have a comeback, but that wasn't the case. And the Bengals took it 34-30. And all of a sudden now they're 2-1 after being 0-1. They beat the Steelers last week and the Packers this week. The next 1 o'clock game was the Rams at the Cowboys. And we saw the Cowboys that we saw in Week 1. The Cowboys, they never really know what you're going to get. Week 1, we saw them steamroll over the Giants, and that's seeming less and less impressive as the year goes on, like showing what the Giants have done so far. And then they went to the Chiefs, at the Chiefs, and they really struggled in Week 2. There was a situation there. They had a lot of opportunities to win that game late in the fourth quarter, but Tony Romo did not play up to his capability. And all the naysayers that always hate on Tony Romo late in the year had a field day in Week 2 because he struggled late in that fourth quarter. And part of that was coaching, and part of it was Romo, because there was one situation where the Cowboys had a chance, and they had Des Bryant one-on-one on the goal line, and they got all their other wide receivers on the right side of the formation. Hike the ball, they throw a little screen pass out to Williams, number 83, and that gets stopped for no gain. I don't think it even gained anything. And that was the third down play. They settled for a field goal. And it was just a really bad managed game by the Cowboys. But anyway, Week 3 against the Rams was not even close to Week 2. And the Cowboys steamrolled over the Rams 31-7. They scored 10 points in the first quarter, and they never looked back. The Rams only points coming in the third quarter, 31-7. And one thing about this game that you really have to look at, and especially fantasy owners, whenever DeMarco Murray plays the Rams, you better start DeMarco Murray. He had another huge game in this one. As we remember, about 2 or 3 years ago, his breakout game was against the Rams, and he plays very well against them. They have a really poor run defense, and it showed again. DeMarco Murray had a field day. Tony Romo, not too shabby himself, and the Cowboys are 2-1. The next game was the Chargers at the Titans. This game was interesting because the Chargers have to travel east. They lose a few hours. Overall, coming into Week 3, we see the Chargers, and they're a lot more impressive than they were last year. Phillip Rivers is playing at a much higher level than he was last year and the year before. He's kind of getting back to that form where we thought he should be. That Ben Roethlisberger, Eli Manning form that he's always compared to, coming out of the same draft class. The Titans, they've played a couple close games. They almost beat the Texans last week, and they played them tough, even though it's a divisional matchup and they're always a lot closer. But the Titans played them tough. This week, I kind of felt the Titans would be able to hold on and get their first win. And really, my tiebreaker was the Chargers got to travel east and they lose that time. And that is a bigger factor than people think. The Titans get the home field advantage. They're very motivated. The Chargers coming off a win against the Eagles. They could be a little bit lackadaisical. And it was a close game throughout. And we saw Jake Locker and the Titans offense come through late with the last-second touchdown. And the Titans won that one 20-17. The next 1 o'clock game, the Browns at the Vikings. We all saw what happened with the Browns this week. They lost Trent Richardson and a deal to the Colts for a couple first-round picks. We know how a lot of people feel about that. Myself included. And I know a lot of people can relate to this, that trade was not what the Browns needed. I don't care if you have a different ownership that drafted Trent Richardson and Whedon, the quarterback. It doesn't matter. They're very good players. He gave up a third-round pick, and you're trading for the Colts for their couple picks. And the way the Colts are going right now, they're not going to get a pick until the late first round. So the value there is very, very less than what Trent Richardson provided. Anyway, they played the Vikings. The Vikings, an 0-2 team coming into Week 3. They really struggled the last 2 weeks, but they still hung around. So you felt coming home, 0-2, some more motivation. And the Browns, they don't have Richardson. They were not starting Whedon. You figure the Vikings can get a win. Christian Ponder turned this ball over way too much in this game. He was only 25 of 42, and that's the problem right there. When you see that Christian Ponder threw 42 passes, and you have Adrian Peterson as a running back, you got a problem. And, if you tell me that before the game, I'm probably going to tell you he's going to throw a couple picks, but you did. And they're probably going to lose the game. I wish they did. 31-27. And one guy that has really come up for the Browns, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but is Jordan Cameron, the tight end, number 84. He's out of USC, and he's got great hands. He's a great route runner. He's got a lot of speed for a tight end. He's another one of those tight ends. He didn't play basketball, but I don't know if he did actually. But you hear of these tight ends that are always coming out and they're playing basketball. They're got such an advantage because they can box out and, jump up for those high balls almost like they're rebounding. Jordan Cameron is another example of one of those guys, even though he isn't a basketball player. He's tall, he can go up, he's very athletic, and he's a guy that fantasy owners really should pick up if they didn't already. So anyway, the Browns won this game 31-27 on a late touchdown pass by Brian Hoyer, interesting enough. And heading on to the next game was the Buccaneers at the Patriots. This game was not really a game. The Buccaneers continue to struggle. Josh Freeman continues to struggle. I don't know what's going on with him, but it's a bad situation in Tampa. They either have to get Freeman out or get some kind of players-only meeting or coaches. They got to really get it straightened out down there. Patriots, we all know what's going on with them this year. The Aaron Hernandez, the Rob Gronkowski injury, the let going of Wes Welker, and that relationship between Bill Belichick and himself. He's off to the Broncos now, doing very good there, obviously. But the Patriots were really struggling to find a reliable wide receiver. They found Amendola in Week 1, but we know that he got hurt, and he was out for Week 2, and he was out for this game as well. But with Tom Brady, you really can't go wrong. And the Patriots still ended up blowing them out for, say, 23-3. but by no means is their offense the way it was 2-3 years ago. And another guy that's really disappointing after the campaign that he had last year was Stephen Ridley, and that's for fantasy owners, especially that took him high in the draft for a second round. I'll consider selling him now. I don't know how good his value is going to be, but I would consider selling him. But the Patriots will probably get Gronkowski back next week. They're still a 3-0 football team right now. Yep, 3-0. The next 1 o'clock game, I don't know, it might have been 4 o'clock, but it was the Cardinals at the Saints. And the Saints blew them out in this game, but one interesting thing and kind of gross thing that happened in this game was the Cardinals safety. I forget his name, but there was a play, he hit his finger off this guy's helmet, I guess. He went to take his glove off, and his fingertip came with it. I mean, I don't want to go too much into detail with that, but that's disgusting. But the Saints won 31-7. Drew Brees continues to light it up, and the Saints defense really, really is coming on strong with Rob Ryan as their defensive coordinator. And people really undervalue the importance of Sean Payton. We saw what happened last year when he was out the whole year because of the bounty programs. He came back this year. All of a sudden, the Saints are 3-0, and they're looking like that team from 2009. Moving on, we got the Lions at the Redskins. Again, a really, really slow start from Robert Griffin III in this Redskins offense. They take forever to get warmed up. I don't know what they're doing. I mean, people say it's RG3's bum knee. It's this, it's that. He can't run. This is what it is. People know the option kind of offense. The defense has had a whole offseason to prepare. And RG3 is not a pocket passer. They say he can pass the ball. He doesn't need to run. Well, guess what? The only time he can pass the ball is when they're wide open receivers because they're so tricked on the option. He cannot run the option this year. He cannot run. So now he's got to make some accurate passes, and we have not seen that from RG3 so far this year. Anyway, it was a close game. The Lions ended up winning 27-20. Reggie Bush was out in this game, but Joaquin Bell was really a surprise in this game. He didn't run for a lot of yards, but he impressed me the way that he ran. Not in a way you would run if you want to have a long career, but a way if you want to make an impact. So the Lions win 27-20 on that one. The next game, Giants at the Panthers, and boy, oh boy, I don't even know where to start here with Eli Manning and the Giants offense, and it's been abysmal so far this season. You're thinking the Giants are 0-2. They lost to the Cowboys week 1. You're thinking week 2, okay, they're going to come back. They're going to make a statement here, right? They're home, they should win. They don't get it done last week, and it was kind of a close game. You're thinking the Giants are playing well. They just can't turn the ball over, right? So here we come, week 3. They don't turn the ball over. They don't have one single turnover on offense. You know why that is? Because the Panthers had so many sacks in this game. The Giants' offensive line was horrible. There were 6 sacks in the first half, 7 overall in the whole game. And if you do that as an offensive line, and as an offense, you have no chance to move the ball down the field. And no wonder there was no turnovers. You never got a chance to throw the ball. And this was very disappointing on the Giants' part. You'd think coming in against the Panthers, I mean, they're 0-2 as well. But the Giants, they got motivation. They have a good quarterback. I mean, they should be able to come in and at least put up some points. It was terrible. 38-0 game. The Panthers are now 1-2, and the Giants 0-3, fading away very fast. As we look to the next 1 o'clock game, it was Texans at the Ravens. As we reminisce and remember about last year, we remember the Texans and the Ravens playing. We remember Ed Reed being on the Ravens, and we also remember a complete blowout by the Texans. This game, this year, a new game, was a little bit different story. The Ravens took this one 30-9. Early on, it looked like the Texans, kind of controlled it, waiting for their offense to get going a little bit. However, in the second quarter, the Ravens really took it over. It was 3-0 at the end of the first, and by the end of the half, it was 17-9, and it was looking like a blowout. Joe Flacco and the Ravens offense never really got the ball, but their defense played well, and, you could say they really shut down Arian Foster well. and Andre Johnson not feeling 100% coming off of that, possible concussion. And so the Ravens really played well. I did not expect to see this after what happened week 1. But now all of a sudden the Ravens are 2-1. I mean, that division is looking a lot more like the Ravens and the Bengals division than it is the Steelers and the Browns. Moving on, we got the Falcons and the Dolphins, and what a surprise the Dolphins are this year. You always have that one surprise team, and this year it might as well be the Dolphins. A lot of people are saying it's the Chiefs, but really it's not a surprise for me. They had 6 Pro Bowlers last year on that Chiefs team, and all they needed was a coaching change, they needed an attitude change, and they needed a quarterback, and they got all 3 of those things. Therefore, that's not really a surprise. The Dolphins, that's a surprise. They came in, they went 2-0 on their first 2 games, which were on the road. Now they come at home, they're playing the Falcons, they're saying, yeah, it's a home game, but the Falcons are a really tough team. Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Roddy White, Tony Gonzalez. You're thinking they're going to have another field show, but the Dolphins really prevailed again. Mike Wallace was really a non-factor in this game, kind of like he was in week 1. But Ryan Tannehill, he seems to be going on the upside, and this whole Dolphins team seems to be as well. This defense of the Dolphins is really something to look at as well. Moving on, we got the Bills at the Jets, and this game was a very difficult game to watch. The last of the 1 o'clock games lasted over 3 hours at least, and I know CBS had trouble even getting the Emmys on because of this. And the Jets committed so many turnovers in this game that even kept the Bills in it. It should have been a blowout by the Jets. E.J. Manuel played horrific in this game. He played terrible. He held onto the ball so much. He got sacked a lot. And the Bills' offense really looked bad until the 4th quarter, where the Jets just gave them penalty after penalty and first down after first down. All of a sudden, it's 20-12. And all of a sudden, Bills score a touchdown. They go for 2. They get the 2-point conversion. We're tied. We're tied at 20. The Bills get the ball back. They go 3 and out. And Geno Smith makes a nice pass to Santonio Holmes to breaks the tie. And that's the game. So 27-20, the Jets take it. The Jets are 2-1 this year. Another kind of surprise. I mean, you don't have the Mark Sanchez distraction. You have a rookie quarterback in Geno Smith, who's already doing 100 times better than Mark Sanchez did. So that's that game. That's the last of the 1 o'clock games, and now going into the 4 o'clock games, we have the Colts at the 49ers was the first one. And a lot of people are thinking, the 49ers coming off the loss to the Seahawks last week, even though it was at home against the Seahawks, they should really come out with some energy and really, start off fast with Colin Kaepernick and Anquan Bolden and this great defense of the 49ers. However, it was not that at all. The Colts put an absolute rout on the 49ers. They won 27-7, and this game was really no contest. Colin Kaepernick struggled. Another quarterback who runs the option, who was finding, a lot more struggles this year than last. The next game was the Jaguars and Seahawks. I'm not going to waste a lot of time on this. It was a blowout by the Seahawks. They had their backups in by the 3rd quarter. I mean, probably, the best or the easiest lock of the year was this game. The Seahawks at home over the worst team in the league. 45-17, the Seahawks take it. They're 3-0. Next game was a Sunday Night Football game, and that was the Bears at the Steelers. The Bears in the first 2 weeks have shown a lot of promise with the way they've played. They're 2-0 after the first 2 weeks, and the Steelers, complete opposite. This offense run by Todd Haley has been nothing but a disaster for Big Ben in this offense. And the running game has been horrific. They tried to bring in Felix Jones. He fumbled in this game like all the other running backs want to do for Pittsburgh. I mean, if you live in Pittsburgh and you're any kind of a Pittsburgh fan, I recommend going to the Pirates and cheering for them instead of the Steelers this fall, because it's not good right now. Anyway, this game ends in 40-23. The Steelers hung around a lot more. They had a better, they moved the ball more proficiently offensively, but overall, they killed themselves. They shot themselves in the foot repetitively, time after time. Every time it looked like they were about to come back, they shot themselves in the foot. Interception, pick six, fumble return for a touchdown. You can just never. I feel like the Steelers were the Jets in this game. Like, I don't know. Another tough game to watch. Give credit to the Bears. They really converted late in the game on key third down plays. And now they're 3-0 and the Steelers are 0-3. And, that's that. Then the Monday night game. Raiders at the Broncos. Peyton Manning and this Broncos team continues to light it up week in and week out. I mean, this is where you kind of start thinking, when is this a good start for Peyton Manning and not just, a good year overall? When does it stop being like a good start and start being like the best year that he has ever played? Because he is statistically on track for one of the best seasons in NFL history as a quarterback. Well, anyway, this game was not even a game at all. I mean, the Broncos won 37-21. Peyton Manning lit it up again, maybe not quite as good as they did in week 1, but Broncos 3-0, they're showing a lot of promise. Hopefully they can get Von Miller back. That's a little bit, of a difficult situation, but they get him back. They got Elvis Dumervil on the other side. They have a pretty solid defense. They get Champ Bailey back. And this offense, if they could find a more consistent running game, I'm not complaining about their offense because it's one of the best in the league. But if you get a more consistent running game from them, boy, oh boy, are they going to be a team to watch. So that about does it for Week 3 of the NFL. That was Cover 2. I am Billy Petty, and we'll see you next time.